Hello YouTube, HP Zeta here today, and makeshift stream for makeshift PC. As you can kind of see in the background, that was the end result of the last live stream. You guys on a brand new angle. You probably noticed that our stream today is an hour late. I'm sorry about that, I had absolutely no choice. I was at work and our CEO, the whole morning I spent prepping a laptop for him. I had a printer problem, so I had to go there, sort him out. To be honest, it was a PC problem, so it's not nothing he could have done with it, or nothing I could have done. First thing I just want to fix here, just fix this little corner with some pliers. There we go. Somewhere in this case's lifetime, that little corner went in, and my OCD was killing me. So this is the live stream PC. You guys are currently connected via a 5-meter HDMI cable, so if the picture cuts out, it's one of two things. It's either the cable or my battery ran flat. I did bring another battery. If it does happen, I'll just swap the battery around. I'm keeping an eye on that. We'll see how that goes. But you can see this is the live stream setup. We've got a cheapo ATX power supply, 250 watt. It's a FSB Group Incorporated. Go figure. Two Voodoo 2s. That's a Sunblast Alive 5.1. Well, actually, that's a 4.1. Yeah, Sunblast Alive. And my old trusty GeForce 256. Now, as you can see from there, that's our problem. It live streams for a few minutes and then suddenly it dies. And I've got a feeling, call it an inkling, it's going to be one of three things. Number one, that cheap power supply, which today we're replacing with another cheap power supply. If you have money, don't buy Hunky. If you don't have money, you're poor sod like me, okay, get Hunky. But generally, everyone in the world knows it's terrible. So it's either the power supply, it could be the motherboard, or it could be the GeForce 256. If I had to guess anything, I'm guessing it's power supply. That's why tonight most of the video will be about swapping around the power supply. We're also going to reseat all the cards and do some basic demo work. Well, sorry, not demo work, debugging, fault finding, call it what you will. I'm also working around cables and stuff, so there's a good possibility you, the viewer, will land up on the table today. Who knows? So the first thing I want to do here is I'm just going to reseat all the cards, and I'm also going to clean them out using some of this magical stuff. This is contact cleaner. It is literally my most favorite thing in the world. It cleans gold contacts and removes oxidization almost instantly, but it also eats away through the can. So while a can of that stuff will last you 2 years, the problem is you're going to have to stick it in something constantly and hope that it doesn't devour it. So the first thing I want to do is I'm just going to reseat all the cards. It's not really needed in this situation, but I think seeing that I'm in Durban and that there's so much condensation and stuff in the air, I'm guessing it won't hurt to every now and then reseat as many cards as possible. The interesting thing about this case, let's see who's here. Adilatar and Evert is here. Hunky is not that bad if you can ignore the bad components in it. Well, yeah, it's a great power supply if you can ignore the bad components. Who do you call if you get electrocuted? If I get electrocuted, please don't call anyone, because it's going to be way too embarrassing for me So just sit there, relax, and when you attend my funeral, make sure you get some nice food for my family, you know. None of this potato salad stuff, you know. I don't think they like that stuff. So I've got that drag is as full fears for this thing. It's take a nice clean rag, and I'll show you what this stuff does. So that contact cleaner, normally the stuff you'll spray it on contacts, but I'm not going to do that tonight. It is 100% electronic safe. It's made to actually go into audio amplifiers and stuff. So all I'm doing is I'm just grabbing that and I'm just smearing it on there, and you can see there's quite a bit of black already off of there. We only follow the absolute best ESD guidelines on this channel. So you'll see I've got my super duper wireless anti-static wristband, aka a watch, on that will protect all of my expensive components from ESD damage. It will ensure that I don't get electrocuted. How's the audio, by the way? Can you guys hear me? I hope it's not too clicky. This is actually a brand new Voodoo 2. Thanks to the Russian guys. I mean, they're going for next to nothing. If you need a Voodoo 2, about 3 months ago was a good time to buy it. They were going for next to nothing online. Thanks to the Russian importers. This one is particularly nasty. You'll see the interesting thing with this case is it has an ISO slot, but the back panel is actually covered up. You can't untake that out to use the ISO slot. So yeah, it's all this case's fault. I mean, it's a really bad design, and probably one of the things what you expect to happen if you're using modern electronics on an old system. Stream is fine, but YouTube has huge delay. Yeah, YouTube has about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Can you just find that is awesome. So there's two reasons for doing this. Because this is an oil-based contact cleaner, it leaves a little thin layer of oil on top of the PCB, on top of the gold, and that actually prevents corrosion. Especially here that I'm at the coast, corrosion is a huge problem. You'll be surprised just how many machines. You can go and reseat a card a million times over and it doesn't do anything. Okay, but you can go and you can take contact cleaner, clean the contacts, and stick it in, and suddenly that machine just jumps back to life. The stuff is quite literally liquid gold in my opinion. Okay, so everything's reseated. Evert said he bought two for $60. I presume Hunkies. Yeah, look, they're cheap, but they don't deliver what the rated power is on it. If you have a 600 watt Hunky power supply, it explodes at like 500. You can just type in Google Hunky explosion, and they literally, it's one of the last manufacturers that still does this whole thing of max power. In other words, it just has to like hold 600 watt for 2 seconds and then they consider it to pass, which I'm not a fan of. But hey, in an old retro machine, this thing isn't going to get close to 350 watts anyway. So I have absolutely no problems using a Hunky here. It would have been nice to use a more expensive one, but you know what? You use what you got, man. If you ain't got nothing, you can't use it. So how's everyone's day been? I mean, mine was interesting to say the absolute least. I mean, I got there and different problem and decided to help him. Luckily he's a nice kind of guy, you know. It makes a huge difference when you work for nice bosses. And they sort of understand that you also have a life beyond the office. I mean, if you work for a bad boss, generally the conception is you don't do anything except for work, especially if you're a single guy. They will take advantage of you. But in my instance, I'll be honest, they have yet to take advantage of me. They treat me very well. They're nice people. I remember having 3DFX Voodoo Banshee 16 megabit PCI card back in the day. Yeah, I am. It's a good card. If you can track one down, they make great retro rigs. I mean, fun to use, fun to game on. I should get some. Yeah, if you, so it has socketed chips. Eva just said there I should get some contact cleaner for my Gus Classic. It has socketed chips. Get some contact cleaner and just like wipe the contacts and then take out the chips and spray contact cleaner into the sockets. Wipe away the excess and then snap it in. You'll be amazed. I mean, consoles, especially consoles that uses what do you call it? Cartridges. Fixed a lot of sneezes just by using contact cleaner into the cartridge port. N64s as well. They just like fix themselves when you spray them. And my problem is I don't have any cable ties. And boy oh boy does this thing's a mess. I mean, should I show you guys? Yeah, let's first take the power supply, make loosen it up, and then we can like figure out what goes where. Look, it's not a complete mess. I've seen worse. So I had to use a extension cable because this cheap power supply wasn't long enough. But I just wanted to show to you guys the wire thickness difference between the extension and the power supply. I mean, the extension is better quality than the power supply. But luckily, this thing is so easy to put in and out. There is some changes I'm going to make here, because I see this thing only technically has one power. I mean, it has one Molex. What the hell was I thinking when I put this in here? Let's see if I can do this. Just take that again like that. I mean, it's a nice case, don't get me wrong. There's like USB 3 on here, front port audio, all of the stuff that I can't use. This is a retro machine. But it's a nice case. I'll give it that. So what I'm going to do here is, the new power supply has two Molex splits. Now one of these actually goes to the slot kit. The slot kit is what allows me to run a Tolatin in this machine. So I'm going to give the slot kit its own rail. It's not going to share with anything. And then the rest of it will plug in there. That's just a split off for the fans. I mean, this is actually easier than I thought it was going to be. Let's see, I am 6 skills. It is 4:15 here. I'm in Australia. Welcome. Wow. This is the thing I'm watching today. Cool, awesome, man. Thanks. Those VSUs are actually pretty good. Just needs to replace secondary capacitors. Yeah, okay. I'll take that. Yeah, I can do that. I'll do that at a later stage. Secondaries, yeah, kind of makes sense. They would go off with a bang if they fail. I mean, yeah. There's some weight to it. I don't know. Power supplies are a weird thing. I've had a lot of power supplies, and the one brand that's never failed me, that's blown up on people, that's taken out extremely expensive cases, extremely expensive rigs, okay, and it's never given me issues, is actually Procase. Now, Procase is a local brand, to be honest. Distributed and imported by a local guy. Yeah, sure, it's made in China for us, but Procase, I've had machines where the machine, I've still got the power supply for it, and the machine has long since died. The power supply still works. It's weird. And yet, I've had numerous people who had them, and I didn't work on their PCs or anything, so maybe that's why. Yeah. Who had them, and their computers exploded because it had a Procase PS unit. So you get some weird things with PCs, especially with power supplies. But in the same breath, I won't recommend people to get a Procase, even though I've had them and they don't give me hassles. I'll tell them get a Cursor, because if it does blow up, then they'll come back and tell me, why did you recommend this piece of rubbish? Now let's have a look and get rid of all of the stuff that I know we're not going to use. definitely not going to use the extra 12 volt on the motherboard. This motherboard doesn't need it. We can actually plug in the secondary on this. It's not needed, doesn't go anywhere, it goes to a blank plate there, but I'd rather not plug it in, just plug in the basics. That's the one thing with these extension connectors, they're always a pain to get back in. There we go. That side is in, this side is in. There we go. I mean, it doesn't go anywhere, it's not connected, it goes in there, and then here's the plug connector. Nicely wrapped away there. I should possibly add a little bit of tape or something there, just so that the sharp pins don't pin those. Don't worry, it's anti-static, I promise. Just for a tiny little bit more protection, peace of mind, Right, so that's in. That'll sit happily like that. I really would love to power my hard drive. So hard drive and CD-ROM, they're getting their own power. Let's see, let's check the chat. I would have liked to have seen its guts. Oh my god, the whole time I had stream muted. Be happy 1500, not almost 3K. Only have one now, I wanted second hand, Titan X. Ooh. The Smash TV network, you've got way too much money. And yeah, the stream muted. Message. Yeah, I know. I can't blame you. Sometimes I do make a fault mistake and there's no audio. It does happen from time to time, Like I said, I'm completely and utterly out of cable ties, so guess I'll have to make do. And now finally the CPU gets its own power connector. In case there was noise on the line going to the CPU, that could have definitely caused the problem that I was experiencing, without a doubt. Okay, new power supply in and no cable ties, so I'll come back later and then clean that mess and make it look neat. But until then, it's hidden. Out of sight, out of mind, you know. Why make this too thick? Shouldn't have. It's the same thickness it always was. Oh, come on. Add one more. $8K live stream, here I come. I really do not know how much it'll cost to stream in 8K. Whew, man. Yeah, okay, 8K, I stream in 720p. I mean, that's HD enough. It makes you see what's happening, and it allows you not to see my pimples. I mean, at 8K, you'll see my pimples, and I think that's where I draw the line. Okay, so new power supply. Is it going to blow up? Who knows? Maybe. At least some stuff has dedicated power now, like dedicated power to the slot kit. So yeah. Ah, CD-ROM has no power. That explains it. Okay. Open it up again and give power to the CD-ROM. I mean, that's a necessity, right? You have to like power a CD-ROM. I mean, I thought something was weird. This is one of those things you can only do when it's flat and you use both hands. Okay, so let's see if it blows up. No, no pops. And let's do it without the screen roll. Hunky power supply, a slot kit, a JetBay motherboard, the devil's freeway of retro computing. No, I should actually add more stuff on there. Try to get like 6 things. You know, I have a 666, the rig. Oh, and it has a Sunblast Alive. It actually works in DOS. Although that's not difficult. It's not difficult anymore. Oh, I've got to plug the CD-ROM back in. I've got my CD-ROM cable now, at least. The CD-ROM cable is too short now. I don't know. Okay, now my CD-ROM's connected again. At least we know the hunky powered up, it didn't explode. That's a plus. I mean, well, that's already better than the live stream. I'm sure you guys don't want to watch that. Oh, and you see all of those pins there? That's my PC audio. Okay, let's see if I can give you guys a better view. And pull the cable off of the thing there at the same time. Hell, I'm surprised it didn't fall on the floor. Gently. Please don't fix my guards, nothing wrong with it. If you want water cooling kits for this, I've got an excess of Socket 7 water cooling kits. I cleared out the supplier when they went bankrupt. So I've got like 20, but yeah. Okay, so this is where we started. Okay, so hey, don't diss NT, it's not the worst of the worst. NT runs phenomenally well if you know how to treat it. Now let's see, just now, it took like 2 minutes. It got to the second last test and then it gave me BSOD. What's the worst that can happen? Yeah, so I was thinking today, there's a huge difference between people that the person's willing to help and people that you're not. In my company, I'll say that just about everyone, it's my job to help everyone, but so everyone will get out. But there are 98% of the people there, which is the highest ratio I've ever had, are people when I see them, I'll jump to go help them. And then there's the other 2% that needs more attention. I mean, it doesn't help you go into IT, especially not if you're a computer engineer and you think that you shouldn't help people. I mean, you won't get anywhere in life if you do that sort of stuff. And I know a few IT technicians who are like that. They just get calls after calls and then they don't help people. They do the minimum. So it sucks. Yeah. But let's all wish, what's the name, a good time P. So far, so good. I mean, that's great so far. Hey, kitty time! I don't know if you guys can see the mirror, but you're just going to go say hi to go eat. Well, it gets further than what it got with the live stream. Quite a bit further. So if I had to guess, this power supply is a piece of rubbish. The interesting thing is it's a heavy power supply inside. Oh god, yeah, it's not that great inside. Has it ever been opened? Yeah, I've opened it to check it. I would have checked to see for bad cups and stuff, and there wasn't any. I guess if this works, I'll move it over to the smaller tripod. That's better. It actually completed a benchmark. I'm just going to hit demo mode quickly at 800 by 600. And then we'll switch over to some Quake 2. And then we'll open up this power supply and see what's wrong with it. Well, actually, I'll do that now while you guys watch the demo then. This has active PFC with noise killer. This power supply. You know, if you've got a quality power supply, if it has noise killer built in, I mean that's the measure of a power supply. Does this power supply have noise killer? If it doesn't, then it's a terrible power supply. I mean that's already miles better. I couldn't get it to output 3D at all for longer than 10 minutes. I wonder if the 3D card will work now. Yeah, this power supply is gone. I'll show you guys shortly why. Okay, I didn't open this one to check it. Sheesh. No wonder. Guess what's getting trashed? I mean, I'm surprised this thing even booted. You'll see now. Okay, so all of that works. The power supply definitely was to blame. I'll show you guys now what that looks like, but I just quickly want to just try finishing one level of Quake 2, because that was one of the main problems, was Quake 2. I shouldn't actually put the chair here because I'm just going to pull off that table and drop my expensive camera on the floor. Okay. Real blood. Which one is it? It's this one. Huh? Did it freeze? No, it's the... It works if I grab it on a keyboard. How am I going to play this? It's probably going to nag me for the CD. actually goes in. Okay, so that works. I don't know why. I normally keep like a pile of power supplies that I pre-test, so that I know that the power supplies that I'm putting in works. Sure, I've been running low lately, that's why I stuck that 250 in here. But it was fine when I did benchmarks and installs and stuff, and in the morning it was fine too. But capacitors are temperature sensitive. I mean, 95% sure this is what caused it. Ah, by the way, guys, who of you are excited for the new AMD processors? What's it called? Zen. Well, they changed it to Zen something other. Unboxed in, that's not going to end, that's going to end terribly. I just want to see if it works. I mean, that works. There we go. Crappy live stream PC, I think that's fixed. So let's quit here and I'll see if I can give you guys a better view. Show you guys what was actually fault with the system. Well, just reboot it. Oh, yeah, I shut it down. Probably a CPI driver glitch, you know. Okay, that's fine. That works. I'm happy with it. And I can see why the fault was there. So lesson learned, you know, just because I might have tested it months ago doesn't mean I did actually test it. And it's a noob mistake. It's as noob as you get. Sorry about the look there, that. Let's just put that like that. Okay. Move the cable gently. Gently, there we go. And yeah. So power supply. And now let's play a game, guys. Do you know? Can you spot what's wrong with this? If I did that, can you like spot what's wrong with this? Can you spot the secret hidden capacitor underneath the cables? That's completely ruined. I mean, sorry, wrong finger, that finger, this finger, other finger, this finger, that one there. That's completely bulged. And the one behind it as well. I mean, they don't even have a connector on the fan, and the fan wire is literally just like that distance. So let's move this, turn it that way. I'll see if I can't give you a better view by not using the tripod. Okay, so first off, there, that cap is gone and leaking. Secondly, that cap there, also gone and leaking. So yeah, so what does all of that teach you? Don't accidentally use the zoom function while you're there we go. So I mean 100% my fault this thing failed on the weekend. I normally have like 2 batches of power supplies. I've got a batch that's untested and one that's tested. And by tested I mean opened up, check the caps, check that it's working, put it back together, and then test that. Load test the 12 volt rail and the 5 volt rail and see if it's a decent power supply. And somehow this got into my good batch of power supplies, and I actually think this was like the second to last good power supply, because I had another one and I used that power supply somewhere else, and yeah, that's why I had to buy that hunky. And it's Capzon caps. 22,000 microfarad, 6.3 volts. I do actually have replacement caps for this, but I'll keep this power supply in case I'm like desperate, and then put new caps into it. But no, I mean, it even has a little trimmer pot that's used to calibrate the 12 volt rail. It has a rectifier that's flapping in the breeze. It's a bad power supply, make no doubt about it. Yeah, FreeSync and DOSBox looks awesome. They look promising. I'm waiting for first round of views, benchmarks. Is that what I mean? Well, actually, Linus Tech Tips with the Ryzen processor, he had a thing with the official AMD press conference. He actually went there, and they had test machines everywhere set it up, and they just let the guys go crazy on the machines to test it. And apparently those leaks were spot on. So I can't wait. I mean, this will mean one or two things. It'll either mean cheaper processors, because Intel needs to drop now, or it'll mean that Intel fast forwards and actually creates new architecture, which is what they're supposed to be doing, instead of this shrinking and just carrying on the way they've been. I mean, they've gotten lazy, in my opinion. So yeah, only good things to come. I'm either going to get one of the new Ryzen CPUs as my next PC, or whatever else Intel does when they drop the prices and stuff. But I'm excited to have an 8-core because it's extremely useful for streaming. I mean, it was mentioned, you guys mentioned their 4K, 8K streaming, but with 8-core you can do 4K and no hassle. So I'm really excited for Ryzen. Shouldn't be too expensive to recap it. Yeah, it's going to be like $50 to recap it. It's cheap. I'll consider it, but it's not a good power supply to start with, and yeah, I'll rather just use that one that's in there now. With my next project, I'll get another power supply somewhere. The problem that I found is here in Durban, there's not in Centurion. If I wanted a desktop, a Pentium 4 system to gut, I can go and pick one up within 5 or 10 minutes. Everyone has one, everyone's throwing them away, and it's just so quick to get them. Here in Durban, used computer parts is very, very difficult to come by, very expensive. I mean, people are trying to sell Pentium 4s for like 1,600. Also with work, I've had a lot of machines donated to me by a very good friend of mine and some other friends. But they're all good Pentium 4s that can run XP, and for work, we're grabbing those and I'm giving them to work. I've got this idea for a project with computer recycling that we are trying to get off the ground. And sorry, guys, I can't talk about it because non-disclosure agreement, that sort of stuff. But yeah, so when I do get machines, they normally go there now. But I would like to find a place that has like an infinite amount of cheap machines for me to grab again, so that I can like strip and get parts and start stocking up again, especially things like power supplies and IDE hard drives. Ooh, face detection is detecting something in the dark. Must be my ghost. This house is a ghost. So let's see what the chat's going on about. Wow, Lacto Basilius Prime, welcome. I love your show. The Ryzen machines appear are excellent at streaming. The multi-core equals sweet multitask. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly why I want one. The 8 cores will help me with streaming to no end. Intel has been forced to innovate because AMD has been behind. This reminds me when they were behind with the K6, but then they released Athlon and Booth. Yeah, that happened. And also, Intel got lazy with that, and the Pentium 4 was a huge flop. You know, that's what kept AMD going so close to them for so long. 52 recap is too much. No, it's not 50 Rand. Remember, it's Rand, it's not dollars. It's the price of a Big Mac. That's what 50 Rand is. I'll get the Ryzen just to support the underdog to keep competition going. Thanks. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll see what happens. Look, I'm a bit stingy with my money, so I'll see what happens. Find this excellent for innovation. I currently have i7 on 1150. I'm running the same. I'm running 1150 socket, but I'm running a Xeon CPU in my 1150. Upgraded might be the next CPU will be AMD. Good times, yeah. The only thing that I'm waiting for with AMD is they did this with the RX 480. It sounded great. The reviews were great. It's great on paper, and then it came out, and then there was this power management problems and overheating problems and things. So I'm a little bit scared, tiny little bit, but not as much as with graphics cards. I might actually just take the plunge and get it. Now it's just a question of getting the money for it. Yeah, it's easy to get all parties. Yeah, it's different in the world. It's different for getting all parts. It's not that easy where I am now. Where I was before, it was very easy. Like your videos as well. Oh, thanks. $100 for a dual core PC. Yeah, but you can with the core count. I can pick up Core 2 Duos for about that $100. That's 1,400 Rand. Yeah, I can find dual cores for that, but it's too new for what I collect, and it's too new for the parts, so I tend not to. Oh, my question got lost all the way up there. I'm skills, just retype it. We've got like a couple minutes. I've got like 2 more little battery things, so I might as well answer questions. I mean, this was the first thing wrong with the PC. I didn't expect that to be the power supply. I thought we were going to be here for 2 to 3 hours. Okay, my current machine is still a first gen i7. Difference in gaming between that and the current top of the line isn't enough to justify a change. Yeah, I agree. My CPU is a Xeon. It's based on the Sandy Bridge, so that is, I think that's 2nd generation i7. The only difference is it's basically an i5 with hyperthreading enabled. I'll tell you what, let me switch over to the other monitor and give you something actually a little bit better to watch. And I'll show you what I'm running this on. Second screen. So your comments will disappear for a few seconds. I promise I'll still read them. Let's do it on this side. I want to show you guys everything. There are some stuff on this laptop, on this PC I can't show you. But yeah, this is basically what I'm running. It's Intel Xeon E31230 at 3.2 GHz, 16 GB RAM, 64-bit processor. The one thing that I'm very glad with is when I got this PC, there was absolutely no reason to go for 16 gigabytes of RAM. Windows 7 came out, and Windows 7 runs perfectly fine on 4 to 8. And at the time, I was for stick 16 in. It's cheap. It was at the dip of RAM prices, so I stuck that in. And yeah, it worked out well. And this little Xeon CPU wise, if it wasn't for live streaming, I don't see any reason to upgrade it. It's fast enough for gaming, it's fast enough for streaming. I've got a GTX 960 for my gaming. It runs everything I want to at 1080p because my screen is 1080p. I don't want to invest in an expensive screen, so I'm happy with it. But the next step is coming. Like end of this year, I need to do the next step with the live streaming and stuff. And my line is fast enough for 1080p streaming, and it would be nice to have a system that can like back that up and make editing easier. Yeah, Xeons are best for live streaming, but it's best you use a HDMI card so that you can use a PC that's better spec for gaming per core. I've got an HDMI card on my PC, and I'll be honest with you, with the Xeon, the way I've got to set it up at 720p restreaming, I don't see a big enough frame drop in games to make a huge difference for me, so I don't always use the HDMI capture to restream. It's just a little AverMedia Live HD. In fact, that's what the camera is connected to right now. It's just I've got a bad angle, so you can't see me. The Xeon, the nice thing with this processor is if you have a socket 1150 motherboard, it works. You just literally buy it, you throw it in, and it enables hyperthreading. And with hyperthreading, it's the same as running an i7 for all intensive purposes. The only thing is it doesn't, what's that? Not the base clock, but Intel's automatic overclocking, where it scales down to one CPU and up overclocks. It doesn't get as high, but except for that, it's cheap. I mean, I like my cheap stuff. Yeah, and I think we're at an hour live stream right now. I've gone through the live chat and spoke to everyone and everything. I think I'm going to call the stream a quit, and I think this is a much bigger success than the previous stream. We knew something like that easy, like 2 caps and a bad PSU, caused my entire stream to go down. And if I knew this would have been fixed like weeks ago. But that afternoon, I switched it on, started the games. Games were playing nice. The machine was nice and cold, so caps didn't do anything. And when it came to live stream, because I left the machine on so that when it's ready for the live stream, 4 hours later, it just didn't want to know anything. It couldn't be bothered. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong that day. So yeah, that's all from me, HP Zeta, and thank you guys for watching. I mean, we're live streaming to 8 people tonight. That's quite a bit more than what we normally get on the game sort of wise, so I'm definitely going to do more hardware live streams and repairs. The whole idea of the setup was to have the camera up there to fix stuff on the desk. The desk is what it's sitting on at the moment. So in the future you'll probably see me fix a lot more PlayStations, consoles, PCs, that sort of stuff, and maybe even do some challenges and build logs and things. I like this form factor, I like the content, I like this so that we can actually interact. It's something that you can't do just with making videos. So it's something I'm going to be sticking by, and now that Retro Machine's working, there's also going to be at least one retro game every 2 weeks. And by retro I mean anything from the 90s up until like 2002, I'll say, is the cutoff date. So anything older than that, we will be live streaming that every 2 weeks. Evert says he's running the FX 8350, sorry, it's a bit far from there. Yeah, sorry, 8350. Yeah, it's a decent CPU. At that stage I switched over to the core architecture, but it costs a lot more to run it. So it's a decent CPU, there's nothing wrong with them, that they just run very hot. The entire FX series I remember ran very hot for me, and so I didn't really go that route. But for pure grunt, it's actually a very good CPU. The Bulldozer is very good at just giving a lot of horsepower, a lot of grunt for things. Yeah, so anyway, I think I'm dragging this on a bit too long. Oh, wait, Lactose box, yes. I74970. Yeah, if you're running that already, there's no really need to go to the Xeon because it's the same thing. You will lose a lot of performance if you go over to the Xeon because it doesn't turbo to 4 gigahertz. I think mine hits to 3.8 odd thereabout. And also, you can't overclock it. The Z77 chipset can overclock non-K processors, all of them except for the Xeon. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, I enjoy this. So, anyway, cheerio, HPZ, until next time. See you guys later. One more thing, I'm going to keep this on for about a minute before I chop it. I noticed that if I chop it at this stage, it cuts a minute from my stream each side. So I'm just going to switch over to the prelude and it's going to be there for a minute. Guys, you don't have to watch, you can switch off. It's literally just the prelude and it's going to be there for a minute.